guys want to read some books? I do. Hey besties, I'm Sabrina. For those of you who don't know me yet, this is Sabrina Reads and Roams, and I have got a book that I've had on my shelf for quite some time. Hold on, it tells me on the back of it, since July of 2025, and I've not read it yet. The sequel just came out. Not only am I derelict in reading this, well, okay, to be fair, I did read the book back in July, or maybe I read it in August of 2025. I was in like a mental state when I read that book. I don't remember anything from it, if we're being truthful. I just don't remember it. So this is going to be like a brand new read. Like I don't even think I can remember a side character's name. That's how like out of it I was. So we're just going to say I didn't read it, okay? So I've had this book since July of 2025, and I've really not read it yet. And on top of that, I had the arc for the sequel, but the sequel is not out. I've just been behind schedule on a lot of things. This is also a book from ALLURIal, which I have been subscribed to since July 2025, because this is the very first book that I ever bought from them. And the sequel to this book is the most recent book that I've ever purchased from them. I've not read any of the books that I've purchased from them. So this is going to be a number of things. We are going to knock out a whole series because it's only a duology. We're going to finally read some ALLURIal books. We're going to get our reading vlog in, and we're going to catch up on one of my arcs. Does that sound like a good time? Because it sounds like a good time to me. The book that I'm talking about is none other than Brittney Arena's A Dance of Lies. So this is the first book I ever bought from ALLURIal. And I can't believe I've been buying books for them for a year, and I've not read a single one of them. Anyway, this is the first book in the duology. I went to the release party for book 2, so I do actually have just the standard copy of it, To Dance with Death. So I have this. I've got the ARC copy of it from NetGalley, so I can read it on my Kindle. But just today, my ALLURIal box came in the mail. So I figured, like, let's open that up. Let's pull out book 2. Let's compare the artwork, and then let's get to reading. Let's clip the mic on like we knew we were going to need our hands in this video. And the box is upside down, so you can't see my address, but whatever. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, I did get 2 books this month. So this is just a bookmark for whichever the other book is. It's not the Brittney book. They packaged this so well. Okay, we got 2 books this month, but we're really after the Brittney book. Are you subscribed to ALLURIal? If you are, let me know. Have you been liking their books? What do you think of the service? Because I'm just kind of like, I haven't read any of the books. They're pretty on my shelf, but like, who knows? Ooh, I do like that since they first started out, they have stopped putting their like stamp on the books. So, which is, I mean, it's there on the spine, but it's not on the front of the book. So like, I don't mind it being on the spine, but on the front of the book, it was kind of bumming me out. You can see it right here in the corner. So this was the other book that I got this month, Stillborn by Taylor J. LaRue. Listen, here we go. Anyway, what we came here for was To Dance with Death. So now I have the complete set. I don't like that this dust jacket is shiny and this one is matte. But either way, I've got the whole series here. And see, now the standard version has a shiny dust jacket. If we want to compare, this is the standard one. This is the ALLURIal version. They're pretty much the same. Yeah, they're like extremely the same. So that was kind of like lazy on their part, but whatever. But we've got the sprayed edges, and I don't know, does it have any? Okay, the map is looking pretty. Okay, so in the standard version, the map is just on one of the pages, and then ALLURIal gave us the map as in pages. So that's nice. Okay, anyway, we've got both books. It is time to go start reading this series and officially crack the seal on my ALLURIal books. So I will, of course, check in with you along the way, and we're going to knock out a whole nother series here. I'm excited. I'm so excited to read this.
Okay, I was reading the synopsis for this, and the opening sort of like line of it says, "My protector is gone, revealed to be a monster. But I remind myself that I am not a damsel. I'm no princess bound within a tower. I am a shadow." That's a touch dramatic, but Anyway, so this story is about Vasily. She was a dancer at the king's court, King Ilian, and then he framed her for murder. And so she's been in the dungeon in prison for like 2 years, and he just randomly calls her like to come appear before him, and he offers her a deal. He's like, "You're gonna be a spy for me at the Gathering with a capital G, where all of the members of the royal courts of the land get together for 6 freaking weeks. For 6 weeks, she has to be his spy. And like, he'll grant her freedom at the end of that if she does a good job." So when they get to the Gathering, Ilian starts giving her orders, and they start off mundane, but then they start getting really bloody and dangerous. And like, he's forcing her to start harming people. And she basically is like, "Okay, you're a monster." And then she discovers that he's working with someone who's like even shittier than he is. And so she doesn't really know what to do. And since she's threatened, she decides that her best hope is to turn to his brother. So now she's like, "Well, screw you. I'm going to your brother, King Anton." And anyway, so we end up having a rivalry between the two brothers, Anton and Ilian. And then she's caught in the middle. And it says the horrifying truth of her past comes to light. If she wants to survive, she must decide who to trust, who to fight for, and how much of her soul she's willing to damn in the process. And like, y'all, it's crazy.
Okay, I don't have the book with me, but I just finished filming a different video, and I was like, hold on, let me update the people on A Dance of Lies, because I'm about 35% of the way done with it. First of all, I just want to say that the one thing that I did remember about the first time I read this is that Brittney's writing is so descriptive and so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so beautiful and like flowery, and every little thing has a description that is vibrant and colorful, and just the language is, I don't actually want to call it flowery because I think that evokes a particular type of imagery. It's not exactly flowery, but it's so good. It's hard not to see what she's describing. I really appreciate that about her writing. The story itself, I did forget. I realized, yes, I did forget a lot of this book. I forgot that our girl was in prison for something she didn't even do. I forgot all about that. So like I told you, this is really a first read for me, even though technically it's a reread. So far, I'm really enjoying the story. And like I said, I'm getting a brand new experience out of this. Where I'm at in the story, we're just now kind of figuring out that like, maybe the guy is not like the one king is not as good as we thought he was. Well, obviously we knew he wasn't because he imprisoned her for something she didn't actually do. And he knew good and darn well she didn't do it because she was with him when it happened. Okay. So he knew that. And he put her in prison anyway. And now he's basically like forcing her to do something. And I am trying in my Bring the Brain to see if I can remember what his point was, like why he did all of this. And I really can't. Did we find out in book 1? I can't remember. Luckily, we have book 2 and we'll be able to jump right into that. But yeah, so he's a bad guy. And I am, at this point in time, fully on, you need to be on Team Anton. That's where I'm at with it because Ilian is a jerk. And Anton seems like he's a pretty decent guy. That's where I'm at right now. I don't know like what the future might hold. It's weird because I remember basically all the books that I read, but every now and then there's like 1 or 2 where I'm like, wait, what happened? Isles of the Ember Dark is one. I recently read that and girl, honey, I couldn't tell you a single thing about that book. There was a dragon, I think. So like that sometimes happens to me and I can't explain why. Anyway, so I'm liking the book so far and I'm remembering and loving the way that Brittney Arena writes. And so to me, that can make a book transcend anything, even if the story is so-so. If the writing is really good, I'm like, yes, mama. Because remember, I always evaluate books on 3 things and I don't always talk about them in like very distinct categories this way. But when I think about it in my head, when I'm making my ratings, this is what I do. It's the plot, plot, the people, and the prose. So is the plot any good? Are the people written well? Are they nuanced? Do they have something to them? Is there substance to their character? And then is the prose any good? Does the writer write in a good way? Sometimes you read writing and like the sentences are terrible and you're like, I'm literally like stuck on a sentence because it's like so choppy. And so like those three things combined, you only really need to hit two of those for me to have a good experience. If you hit one of them and you hit it so freaking well, then I could still have a good experience. But if you hit all three of those, we're in 5-star territory, okay? All three of these, the three Ps so far, are doing really well, in my opinion. And I am excited to blow through this. In fact, I don't even want to go edit the video I'm supposed to be editing today because I want to go read this book. I'm going to edit the video. Don't worry about it. You're going to see it. I think, what am I editing today? I need to edit. It's whatever I'm wearing this outfit for. I think it's my June and July wrap up. I think that's what it is. Girl, I forgot. I just filmed the video and I forgot what it was. So yeah, I need to go edit that. And the faster I do that, the faster I can get back to reading this book.
You guys, I am editing the video right now, the video that we're watching. And there's a clip in here that is just 100% unusable for like several different reasons. One of them is because the camera like refused to maintain its focus throughout it. And like I stopped several times to get it to refocus on me. And it just was like, I'm not doing that today, bestie. I don't know what the deal was. I wasn't like in a new filming location or anything. It just was being ridiculous. Another reason is because I was looking at it and it was like way too 4K for me. Like, first of all, the summer sun is doing a number on my skin. Listen, this is totally irrelevant to this vlog, but I think it's the new sunscreen that I'm using because I couldn't get the sunscreen that I've been using for years. And like, look at this. But it's like all my skin is just like dying and I don't know what happened, but I think it's that sunscreen. So I'm gonna throw that out. Anyway, so like it was looking way too like raggedy in that, but also the camera wasn't focused. And then there was like audio disturbances in the background. So anyway, I'm not going to put that footage there. I'm willing to air a lot of bad footage, but that was a step too far. So I did just want to point out the things that I was talking about in that clip though, because I don't think the video makes sense without those things. So I was showing you, I was like 2/3 of the way through and I had just gotten to the part where Anton says to Vasily, "You are art." And I was like, that's what Brittney wrote in my book when she signed it. But then I also remembered that I never showed you guys the character art that I have for this that I got from when I went to the book signing. So I just thought like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I need to show the people. And I mean, it's signed on the background. But anyway. And then I was talking about how the book was so bingeable. Like I just wanted to like keep reading and I had to force myself to go to bed each night because I was like, you don't have time to finish this right now. You have to go to bed because you have to get up in the morning. And it was just so freaking good, you guys. So good. I was so into it. And I was so like at that point in time, I was like, I need to keep reading because I need to get to the end because I need to see what's going to happen next. And I think I had like 80 pages to go at that point in time. But my takeaways at that point were everybody in this book is a liar. Okay. Vasily's dad is a terrible, terrible person. We knew that Ilian was up to something. Like we always knew he was up to something, but it just kept getting more and more dastardly as the book progressed. And I was just like, why are you like this, my guy? You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. I mean, first of all, he had our girl in jail for no reason. Like, well, not for no reason. It's just because he wanted to. But like, he didn't have a reason to be putting her in jail. She didn't commit a crime. He just made that shit up. And I just kind of was like, you know, nobody needs to be kings. People cannot handle this power. And this is like, not even specific to this book or this series. This is like across fantasy books. Like, people cannot handle the power of being kings. Also, sorry, I keep looking down and around because I have notes. Like I listened to the audio of that clip so that I could remember the things that I was talking about. And I just like wrote notes for myself. So I'm like, what does this say? And then the last point that I talked about in that clip was that I was loving this book so much. I was having such a good time reading this book. And I like was so excited to get into book 2 because I was hopeful that book 2 was going to be just as good. I also in that clip did apologize that this video is coming out quite late because as much fun as I was having reading this book, bedtime just kept coming up. It just kept coming up and I was like, oh, but I want to get further. So I didn't get further. And so the video is late. This video was meant to go up last Friday. You're seeing it. Oh, well, it's coming out on a Tuesday, and no regrets, but it's late. So I do apologize for those of you who are anxiously waiting for that Friday video. I don't know what the best way is to like communicate. I think it's probably well understood that I post on Tuesdays and Fridays, but I feel like I feel like I'm getting to a point where I can't sustain that because I have a job, and like, sure, if I did not have a job that I had to go to, I would be able to give you like 2 videos a week and 2 shorts per week plus some Instagram stuff. But I just don't have that kind of time. And I think what I'm coming to the conclusion is I can sustain it for the most part if I just take one of those videos off per month. So if I plan to post every Tuesday and Friday, but 1 video per month at my discretion, like I never know which one it's going to be. It's going to be when everything just too piled up for me to get there and get it done. 1 video per month will be missing. And I'm not really sure how best to communicate that, or if anybody even cares. I know when my favorite creators have a posting schedule and then they don't post on one of their scheduled days, I'm like, are you okay? Like, are you in the hospital? My anxiety just takes off. So I always worry that there might be a person who's like anxious, like, oh my God, did Sabrina die? Like, what happened? So, I don't know. It's fine. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. So I'm going to stop this webcam recording and get us back into the actual video.
I did it, you guys. I finished A Dance of Lies, and I loved it. Okay, so a couple of things. I forgot, at the end of this book, it gets crazy. Everybody's involved in something or other. I don't want to like spoil it because I did not label this as a spoiler review. But like, let me just say this. If I go and make a deal with a god or goddess or the devil or whoever to like bargain for your life to save you, don't you turn around and make a counter deal with the goddess or the devil or whomever for my life, because what are you doing? Like, do you know what I had to sacrifice for you? And now you're going to sacrifice yourself? It's giving ungrateful, if I'm being honest. It's feeling very ungrateful of my personal sacrifice. And then what happens after that? I have to then go make another deal for you because now you're in trouble again. So like, that's the thing in fantasy books where I'm like, now why would you do that? Why would you essentially cancel out the deal that I have made on your behalf? Okay. It's rude and I don't like it. But anyway, I finished A Dance of Lies. I will just say, like, we knew our guy was up to something, and like, he's out of this world. Now, I am very interested to see, like, knowing how this one ended. Slight spoiler, knowing that this one ended with our guy essentially not remembering a lot of things. I'm very interested to see how To Dance with Death is going to bring that back around. Yeah, so for this book, my rating, I like just finished it, so it's not really fair to say. Currently, I'm sitting at like a 4.25, but that could change just after I have a little bit of time for this to soak in. It's like 9 o'clock right now. I am not going to start To Dance with Death because I have like other books that I've been ignoring, so I can kind of plow through this one. So I'm going to go give those books some attention tonight, and I'm going to start this tomorrow, which means I'm not going to finish it in time for Friday, which is when the vlog was supposed to go up. And now I'm going to have to like rearrange the order of the vlogs, or the videos that I was planning to post. I was like, oh, maybe I could just get it ready by Saturday, but it's not going to be ready by Saturday either because I'm going to be gone all day Saturday, which means Friday, after I finish reading, I'm not going to be able to stay up late to edit it. It is what it is. Here's my reading basket. Here's everything that I'm working on reading right now. I'm in the middle of like 52 books. Oh, there it is. I did go to the book release. I was going to call it a CD release party. My God, that's from my 20s, honey. I did go to the book release party and we got these cute little cookies for To Dance with Death, and I just thought that these were so precious. I don't really want to eat it because it's so cute. The next time you see me, we will be into To Dance with Death. I feel like this whole video is just me sitting on the couch with these books, but like, here we are, you know? So I'm about to start book 2, and I'm like, how fast can I read this? It's 380 pages. And, oh, it starts with a recap of book 1. Well, no, I just read it, but I like when that is included in a book, because what if I read it when it was published and haven't read it since? Do I remember the finer points? So I like that. So there's a book 1 recap. Okay, Vasily was once King Ilian's prize dancer until he framed her for murder and threw her in prison. 2 years later, he pulled her out again with an ultimatum, her freedom in exchange for espionage. Listen, from here on out, this vlog is going to have spoilers in it. So if you are not prepared for that, halt. Halt right here. The video will be in your history. You can come back after you read the books, okay? Don't forget to come back, okay? But you can do that after you read the books, okay? As Ilian's tasks grow increasingly dangerous, forcing Vasily to harm and betray those around her, she turns to Anton for help. He reveals a devastating prophecy, and together they uncover proof that Ilian is conspiring with Vasily's own father, the general of Brizendale, to ignite a war against Razam. All the while, Vasily and Anton's alliance deepens into something more than just friends. But their plans are halted when Ilian publicly frames Anton for treason, claiming he colluded with Razam's queen to deceive the syndicate. He gives Vasily one final command: if she wants Anton to live, she must assassinate King Rurik, the king of Brizendale, and frame Razam for the crime, clearing the path for her father to take the Brizendale throne. With no other choice, Vasily kills King Rurik. Ilian betrays her anyway and murders Anton, unaware that he has leverage against the fate of Morda, making him immortal. Chaos erupts. Ilian captures Vasily and threatens a resurrected Anton with surrender. She throws Ilian from the balcony, killing them both in the process. Oh, I was like, wait, what? I was getting confused, okay? I got it now. Anton then carries Vasily's body to Morda's lair and makes an impossible bargain with Moranya, the fate of Morda. He can return Vasily's soul to her body, but he must give up a piece of his goodness. Though he doesn't fully understand the cost, he accepts without hesitation. When Vasily awakens, she discovers the true price of his sacrifice. Anton's memory of her and of the gathering has been erased, rewritten into a lie, where his closest allies betray him to steal his crown. Vasily vows to save him, but first she must finish what Anton started, exposing the truth before the war breaks out. It's about to be a good time, y'all. All right, I finished the first part of this book. It's sectioned into 3 parts. So I finished part 1. Shizzle is popping off. I mean, everybody is doing something. And so Vasily / Vastiana has been recaptured by her father. I mean, she willingly went to her dad's kingdom / castle to go basically plead for the fate of the world, the empire, by essentially establishing that, is it Razam? That's the one that's being accused of killing the previous Brizendale king. Basically, she's going there to be like, no, this is not what happened. Ilian is behind all of it. We can prove it. Like, they had taken the still pictures as proof. Then she came to give her story as proof. An old guy came to back her up. And they're like, anyway, Anton can back all this up too. Like, his word is bond. And everyone's like, yeah, we're going to need to hear that from Anton. Meanwhile, Anton's back in the other castle recovering, but he also has just lost his memory. And so his recovery is not actually happening. He's just being held prisoner by his own design. Like he said, I want you guys to hold me captive and I want Gustav to rule in my stead, like as regent. So things are not looking good because in 30 days, it's going to go down. They're going to reconvene the court of magistrates or whatever, and they're going to have to hear from Anton at that point in time that this is legitimately what happened because he's the crown in the situation. Everybody else in this situation is whatever. He's the crown. He's the one whose word we have to take, and we need to hear it from him. So somehow we're going to have to get Anton to get on board with the program. I don't know what we're going to do because that situation seems pretty much hopeless. Vasily is trapped Although I think she's about to escape, but currently she's trapped. And the two people that stayed with her, Prince Sundar and this other guy, the master reveler. Anyway, they stayed with her. They're now being held captive in Vasily's daddy's private chambers. Like, things are getting crazy. It's really getting crazy. This is the thing. I realize I have not read a deep fantasy book with like lots of moving political pieces in a long time, because I very intentionally distanced myself from reading only fantasy. I was like, you have to broaden your horizon. And I broadened them too much. I realized I haven't been in a intricate fantasy world in a long time because I've been busy reading non-fantasy. So it's like getting back to what I love. And I'm like, yes, okay. And it's funny because like I'm trying to give this little recap and I'm like, this is the problem with never remembering anybody's name. I'm trying to tell you guys what's happening. And I'm like, and then that person, and then so-and-so. And it's like, girl, who? So y'all forgive me, whatever it is, but I'm having a good time with this. I'm quite behind schedule. So I need to get cracking. I am going to go make a little community post and put it up because this vlog right here is supposed to be up today. And I still have over 300 pages to read in this book. And I'm out of the house like all day tomorrow. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get cozy to read for the rest of the night. Now, today it was 102 with a feels like of 119. I feel like I've been beat to death by a stick, but it's really just because I spent a total of 8 minutes outside in the sun. And I don't know how people do this all the time. So hopefully I can get to part 3 by the end of the night, which will leave me like Sunday, because tomorrow's Saturday. It will be Sunday. And then we can throw this vlog up on Tuesday. That's the plan so far. All right, let me go and get all of that done. Okay, I have finished To Dance with Death. I loved this. Listen, this was such a good wrap up. And I am so glad that this was a duology and not a trilogy, because I could see a case for dragging it into a trilogy, but it would have been just that. It would have been dragging it into a trilogy, not this needs to be a trilogy. So I'm very thrilled that it was only a duology, and I feel like it did the story justice. Now, a couple of things that happen at the end, like, and listen, we're in full spoiler territory, so don't get mad at me. So our girl Bastiana, she like went to what is basically the realm for souls. What the heck is it called? Y'all, I need to do something about my memory. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me that I can't remember literally anything. I finished this book yesterday. She went to Morda's lair. No, is that what it's called? The realm where the souls go. It was this whole like back and forth where basically like she was trying to get Anton to remember everything and remember who they are. Now, I will say the way that he came to remember everything was a little bit convenient. He essentially just read a book about the events and then was like, got it, remember it now. But he left her in Morda's lair, and he goes to war, and he's apparently going to go fix the war by himself. She comes through with the mirror and is like, I got this. And she basically slays the whole field. I'm like, my girl, that's my girl. Like, okay. Like, she brought the rage, the vengeance, and I'm proud of her for holding herself together and not killing her own father, because he was a terrible person. And he did all of this, not just to her, but to like the whole empire, the whole world. I'm proud of her for restraining herself. But also, girl, you should have just got yours. You should have just taken him out. So, I feel conflicted on that point. And I don't know that I have told you all everything that happens, but hopefully by me leaving out some of these details that are a little bit important to what I'm saying, I've piqued your interest and now you want to read the book. Right? Okay. So at the end, we're like separated. The third act breakup was a separation between Anton and Vasily. And we're at like the 90% mark when the separation happens. The final separation is happening. I was worried for a minute that they were like not going to get back together, because the way that the pages were going, the way that the things were being read, it didn't seem like anybody really cared about the fact that Vasily was stuck and she wasn't with her dude. So I was like, are we gonna get back to the mortal realm? Like that, the book can't possibly just end like this, can it? Luckily, we got a good ending, but I was worried for a minute. So what did I end up rating this? I think I ended up giving it a 4.25 stars, and that feels right to me. This was a really good fantasy series. I was just looking, I have the other book right here. This was a really good fantasy, romantasy duology. I don't know that I want to call it a romantasy. There was romance involved, but like I wasn't smut heavy, and the romance was so like subtle, and it was a driving factor, but it wasn't a overwhelming factor in the story. So anyway, this was a really good fantasy series. I love that I read both the first and the last book that I got from ALLURIAL, and the only two books that I have purchased from ALLURIAL for the last year that I have now read. So that's a check for me. I should probably read some more of those books, but here we are. I will say, if you like, it's not exactly purple prose, like I wouldn't go that far with it. But if you like really like kind of like flowery language, very rich and vivid descriptions of things that are going on, especially if you're a person that needs that in order to like comprehend what's happening, Brittney Arena is your girl. Like you should pick this up and you should read it. It was really good. So I just kind of felt like this was such a good way to read a fantasy series after I haven't read a fantasy series in a while. So also, if you're new to fantasy, or if you're feeling like, oh, I want to get into fantasy, but I don't know what to do, this is a really good starter set. The other thing about it was the disability rep. So in it, the character has, I don't think they actually did they name her disability? But basically, she's chronically fatigued. She has joint pain, perhaps, and she is unable to dance. She has limitations on what she can do with her body at this point. And I think it also mentioned that her spine was curved, and it's from being in prison and mistreated during her prison term. So she's basically figuring out ways that she can still dance and dazzle and entertain people, even though she doesn't have the full use of her body the way she is used to, the way she was when she learned how to dance. At one point, I was reading the book and I was like, okay, enough about the disability. Okay. That was a gut reaction that I had while I was reading. I was like, that's enough. I've heard enough. Okay. But then I started thinking about it as a person who deals with chronic illness. I started thinking about the way that is everyday life with an illness, with a disability. That is everyday life. Like, no, it is constant. It is constantly there. It is constantly showing up in literally everything that you do. For instance, I have had to have my shoulder surgically repaired. I had to have my bicep tendon reattached to my body. And now it is shorter than it used to be. And there's no amount of stretching or physical therapy I can do to make it the same length that it used to be. And that is my dominant arm. And so everything that I do in my life that I used to do before I had that surgery, I can no longer do in the same way. Something as simple as reaching up to get spices on the top rack of the spice cabinet. I am nearly 6 feet tall. I've never had a problem doing that. This is my dominant arm, and I can no longer reach the top shelf because it just won't stretch that far anymore. And for me, it is my dominant arm, so it's intrinsic for me to reach with this arm. I have to shuffle my body and readjust everything I'm doing just to use my left hand to do that. And so it is a daily occurrence where I will reach and then go, oh, wait, I can't reach that. Scoot over and then reach with this arm. So it really is like an all-encompassing thing when you're dealing with chronic illness and disability. I had to check my own self and be like, no, girl, that really is what this is like. It really does show up every day. And so throughout the book, your girl is tired on every single page, every single conversation that she has, every single thought that she has. She's like, I'm so tired, but I'm doing it anyway. And I'm like, I don't know why I was getting annoyed because I hardcore relate to that. Like that is literally a thing that happens to me in my life. So I just am saying that to say that if you're reading this and you start to be like, girl, that is enough. Okay, we get it. You're injured. No, she's for real. She's for real. And keep reading because it will, even as someone who deals with something like that, even I had to be like, whoa. But anyway, I just thought it was very well done. I loved it. So I think, what did I rate the first book? They're both like solid 4-star material, like 4.5 star material. So this was such a good series to have read here. I can't wait to see what Brittney Arena comes out with next. I know she has some things in the work, and she did say that they're going to be vastly different from this Edge of Glass series. So I'm just excited to see what that's going to be. Anyway, I am rambling at this point. So thank you for coming on this Edge of Glass journey with me and Miss Brittney. And if you would not mind hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button because you love it when I ramble. And with all of that said, I will see you all in the very next video.